Hello, everybody tuning in, and welcome to our webinar for the day. We are going to be highlighting a very big picture question that I'm sure is on a lot of folks' minds is, what is a TMS, a training management system? So we've entitled this The Connected Training Business. There's a bunch of software in the marketplace today that can really kind of sync up and run in the background and automate a lot of processes that we've found historically that training businesses are required to manage on the back end. So we're going to be highlighting some of that stuff today and really show how a TMS can help you as a training provider run your business. My name is Ben Holliday. I'm the Greater APAC Region Customer Success Manager here at Arlo. And with me today, we've got Nick Buttery, one of our product specialists based in the UK, and Jason Vincent, one of our global sales managers and head consultants here at the business. So what we're going to be doing today, Nick is going to walk us through some typical challenges that training providers face on a daily basis. Next, we'll be moving into connecting with a TMS and really defining that big picture question of what is a training management system? How can a training management system automate and streamline your business? From there, we'll be moving into some native integrations and really defining what is a native integration, what are the pros and cons of these types of integrations. And of course, we'll use one of our in-house native integrations between Arlo and Xero to exemplify that for you. Next, we'll be proceeding on to Zapier and defining what is Zapier and what are some of the pros and cons that come with using software like Zapier, and how does it work with a TMS. There's a whole slew of apps available in this Zapier marketplace, but to provide an example for you guys today, we're going to be covering how to manage your marketing automation through the likes of Zapier. And then wrapping up today's webinar, we're going to hand over the mic to Jason Vincent, who's going to be offering an Arlo TMS demo. Of course, don't feel obligated to stick around, but if what Nick walks through over the course of the next 30-40 minutes piques your interest, Jason will be there to kind of take you through what Arlo TMS can do for you and your business. And then, of course, we'll offer some next steps if you feel like Arlo is potentially the correct solution for you and your business. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Nick, and we'll get started with covering what are challenges that training providers typically face in the marketplace today.
All right, awesome. Thanks very much for that, Ben. Let's kick this right off. I think first off the bat, really, we should be defining the problem we're trying to solve here today. So that's the challenges that training providers face. At the moment, it's quite likely that you'll be using quite a few spreadsheets. Maybe you have a few ancillary pieces of software as well, a CRM, marketing automation, maybe an LMS. But at the moment, you're likely having to move data between all of those. So that's a lot of manual processes, and that means a lot of duplicating data. And that double entry of data takes a lot of time. But more importantly, it leaves you prone to human error. And when we make mistakes, you're either having to spend more time going back to fix those mistakes, or you're missing them entirely, which means you're potentially missing on payments you should be taking in, delivering certain courses to people, or missing opportunities to sell to new businesses and new training customers. And when you combine that time requirement and that human error side, those mistakes, that's where we end up with high admin costs, not only in rectifying and spending the time, but also in missed opportunities. So right now it's likely, or in fact you do have a training system in place. It might not be anything flashy, it might just be a bunch of spreadsheets like we said. There might be a few systems that talk to each other a bit, but chances are there's no flashy front centralized, sort of experience for you or your customer. But there is a system in place, might even just be up in your head. But you need to kind of take a step back and have a look at it in the wider sense and ask yourself, how well is my training management system working for me? And am I leveraging the opportunities and the data that I have in front of me to the fullest extent? And when you start to consider that, you might actually find yourself looking a little bit like this lady, quite frustrated and overwhelmed. And when we break it down into all the different aspects, you start to realize that actually there's a lot going on here. There's a lot on the back end that we see here, and then there's a lot around your content and the way that you're delivering it as well. And then when you look at all the different platforms you're using, you begin to realize that it's kind of overwhelming. Right? And none of these things are coherently and consistently speaking to each other. So you're not being able to make sure that all the right bits of information are in the right place at the right time and the right people have the right access to things. And you're losing out on that opportunity to deliver that exceptional training and to sell more of it to more people. So we know there's a problem that needs addressing, but what are we going to do about it? Well, that's where the training management system comes in. Right, so let's define what a training management system is. A TMS is a streamlined version of what you already do. It's designed to organize and automate your training operation. It is the central hub of your training business. It is going to be like the operations center. It is going to pull all those different aspects together and create a much more coherent experience for you and your customer. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Big TMS center in the middle, that's your big central hub, and then surrounding it are the different aspects, right? So here we see those back office parts, the scheduling, the accounts, the reporting, and then from the front end, your customer's experience, we see these as well, right? So we've pulled them all much tighter, right? Much tighter together, and they're talking to each other. So they're sharing the information between them. So you're not doing those manual processes anymore, right? Which is wonderful. But what we see here isn't the full picture, right? We don't have the content side. We might not have the full financial side. We might not have the full CRM side. So how do we address those aspects as well? Well, that's where integrations come into it. Okay? So an integration is the process of combining two or more software systems so that data flows seamlessly and automatically between them. Think of it like a plug connecting two systems together. Most of these are built using something called an API, an application programming interface. It's not too important that you understand what it really is. Effectively, it is a common language, a foundation in which developers can use to allow different bits of software to speak to each other. In many cases, this might just be one way. In other cases, this could be a two-way sync where both platforms share the information with each other. The important thing is you're automating the transformation or the transfer of that information and the transformation. So what are the benefits of having integrations? Straight off the bat, you're going to save time. Where we said you're automating the movement of that data between, you're no longer dealing with that for yourself, right? So you and your team are able to focus on the things that matter, which is delivering the training and, of course, growing your training company as well. It's going to make you a more productive training operation as well. It's going to allow you to do things that you weren't able to do with those manual processes. Like we said, we're not just moving that data, but we're manipulating it as well. We're actioning new tasks when that data is moved and it changes that you might not have been able to do from a manual process. It's going to keep everything in sync. So it's going to make sure that there's no lag between customer information coming out and it going off to your CRM or getting into your marketing tool or maybe an order moving across so you can collect the payment. And then really awesomely, it's going to allow you to use the best tools. Maybe you already have a marketing automation tool that you love, but you're not able to really utilize it to its fullest extent because it doesn't communicate well with your other systems. Well, with an integration, you might be able to do that. Or maybe there are platforms which you've never even considered using before, but because they're available as an integration, you can start leveraging the value and the features that they offer to you. And that's a really cool opportunity. So we've got a pretty good understanding of what an integration is and the benefits it's going to give you, but there's a few different ways you can approach it. When you're looking at a training management system, if one or more of your requirements is a specific integration, there are 5 things you need to consider. The first one is you can use an existing native integration with that system. And if it has, then you've got lucky. But don't be fooled, right? If there are other integrations on that TMS, you're going to be subsidizing them. And you might be paying for a kitchen sink full of integrations that you're never going to use. So you need to be aware of that. Maybe the platform you're looking at or you're using at the moment doesn't have the integration you need. So you're going to switch to a different platform that gives you that native integration. That's awesome, but again, there's a large time requirement and a large cost requirement associated to that. And there might be other parts of that system that don't tick the boxes and the requirements that you need. So you need to be very conscious of that issue. You could, if you're lucky, be able to develop a custom integration, but that brings a big time and a big cost requirement with it. From scoping out what you need from that integration through to sort of developing it, implementing, testing, and then maintaining, that's a very long time frame. And there's also a lot of continuing cost to make sure that that continues to work with your other platforms. So developing a custom integration may sound appealing, but is often not a reasonable answer. You could do nothing at all and continue with the manual admin, and this might work for you, but you're going to run into those challenges and those issues that we addressed earlier on. You're going to encounter human error, and you're not going to be able to leverage the data that you have to its greatest extent. And then finally, the new fifth option that's come around is the ability to use Zapier. Zapier is a workflow automation tool that's going to allow you to connect your TMS to over 2,000 other apps and build workflows which are specific to your requirements. And we'll take a look at that in a little bit. But first of all, I want to take a look at native integrations. So let's define what a native integration is. Native integrations are built and managed by in-house development teams. Most modern applications will offer some native integrations as part of their software package. So here at Arlo, we have a number of different native integrations: SurveyMonkey, Zoom, Salesforce, and a few others as well. And we develop these based off of customer needs and demands, and we do a cost-benefit analysis to understand what the greatest impact in terms of what we'll develop is going to be. And that's awesome. We're able to deliver some really fantastic integrations to our customers. But there are drawbacks to that. We can't build all the integrations. We don't have the resources or even just the time to be able to do it, which means we're not going to be able to satisfy everyone's needs. So you need to be aware of the fact that even though native integrations are out there, they're not necessarily going to tick the boxes that you have. Regardless of that, though, there are some fantastic pros for them. Probably one of the greatest one is it's a plug and play most of the time. Let's take the Zoom integration with Arlo, for example. I simply have to sign into my Zoom account on Arlo, and then anytime I schedule a basic or multi-session webinar, Arlo will go out to Zoom, say, these are the dates, schedule this, and can you pass me back the link, the password, and some of the other information? So that could be auto-populated in emails and then sent out to registrants as they sign up. And all I had to do was sign in, right? So plug and play, they leverage a really good amount of functionality, much deeper functionality than you're able to do with your manual processes. They're going to save you a large amount of time as well. However, there are some drawbacks, right? They're pretty inflexible things. You're not going to be able to adapt a native integration to your requirements. They're built with a fairly rigid scope, and it's not often that vendors are able to adapt that quickly or cheaply to meet your requirements. You might not need that integration at all. And there's a couple of others around there as well, which you need to be conscious of. So we've got an example, sort of an understanding of what a native integration is. Let's have a look at how that fits into your TMS with those other features. So Xero, SurveyMonkey, and Zoom, three that are often available to you, they sit on the side to augment that value. Right? They're able to utilize the sort of the automation and the data sharing from within your TMS to add more functionality on top and to act almost as a singular system, even though you might have to move between them. So let's kind of pull those different things together and look at an example of a native integration. Xero, the accountancy platform here. A comprehensive native integration between a training management system and an accounting system, such as Xero, can take the repetitive manual tasks out of accounting work. So let's go through a bit of a workflow. We'll look at the idea as, so someone signs up to a course. The TMS or the vendor is automatically going to create an invoice in Xero. It's going to send that order information over to Xero, say raise an invoice for me, and then it's going to automatically update that customer info in Xero that a new order is being raised against them. At that point, it can also send an invoice out to that billing contact, who might be a different person to the registrant, which is cool. And then once payment comes in, now if it's a card payment, that might be instantly, so reconciliation can occur really quickly, or maybe when your payment gateway pays out, or if it's an invoice, that might come at a later date. Xero can update itself, and then it can pass that payment information back into the TMS. And here's a cool thing, right? Where we talked about that manipulation, those extra actions that can occur because of integrations. The TMS with that new bit of information can say, okay, that order's paid. I'm going to approve this registrant, which means I can send out the event instructions to them. So you can trigger new things to happen. So there is not only the financial side that you can take advantage of, but there is an administrative and an operations sort of logistics side that you're able to take advantage of. So you're saving time, you're saving those admin costs in multiple different areas. We talked about Zapier earlier on. So we've covered what a native integration is. We've had a look at examples, but like I said, then vendors aren't always going to be able to build all the integrations you want, which means you're going to be sometimes left in the dark where you might be using an awesome platform, but you're not able to pull that in to use with your TMS. Well, that's kind of where Zapier comes into the equation, right? So let's have a little look at what Zapier is. Zapier allows you to connect your training management system with more than 2,000 other business apps to automate repetitive tasks. And here's a real golden nugget. No code required, not one bit. So how does your TMS look when it's working with Zapier? Well, previously, we saw just a few of those integrations connecting directly to your TMS. Whereas here we can start to see multiple different integrations talking to Zapier, and then Zapier is talking to the TMS. So we've got that big trunk between your TMS and Zapier, and then smaller trunks going out to your other integrations. Now here's a great thing. What we see here is sort of like one-to-one connections. Salesforce is going to Zapier, which is going into TMS, but you could really start building things more complex which suit your workflows. So we can go from Zapier down into MailChimp and then maybe into QuickBooks as a single workflow, and then that goes into your TMS. And vice versa, your TMS could send out registrant information to MailChimp, a Google Sheet, and enroll them in your Talent LMS or whatever LMS you're using, all within a single workflow. That's something a native integration just can't do. It can't combine different platforms together this coherently. And there's more than, over more than 2,000 more apps than what we've just shown there as well. So got an idea of what Zapier is, what it looks like. We need to understand what a Zap is in itself, and that's what the workflow is. So a Zap is an automated task that you want to run again and again between online apps, e.g. Arlo TMS and MailChimp. So I'm going to jump down here. We're going to look at a Zap and its different components. So the first thing we need to be aware of is something called a trigger. A trigger is something that's going to happen in an originating platform. This instance, we see that a new contact is being created in Arlo. So every time a new contact's created, Zapier is going to go, cool, I saw that, I'm going to start this workflow. It's then going to go on to something called an action. Here we see something called a filter. It's essentially just a gate. What it's looking for is to see whether this contact has subscribed or not to the newsletter. We're going to say yes, they have. And then it's going to move on to another action. And that's going to add that subscriber to a MailChimp list. So what we actually have here is something called a multi-step Zap. And when we combine those different things together, the trigger and the action, that's what defines a Zap. Now, there's something called tasks as well, which you need to be aware of. They're kind of like minutes on your cell phone plan, right? Every time an action is successfully completed, it's going to count a task against your plan. Okay, cool. So we've got an idea of what Zapier is and the opportunities it offers to you. We understand what a Zap is now. Let's jump in and take a look at an example. So here we're going to look at an example of moving new contacts from Arlo or any TMS really into your CRM, HubSpot here, and then your marketing or email marketing tool, which is going to be MailChimp. So really, I want to address the problem, the reason why we would want to build this first. At the moment, every time you're taking a new customer or a new registrant in your training business, you might be having to move that person manually. Maybe you're just copying and pasting those bits of information about each customer into your CRM, and that could take 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then you're checking whether they signed up to the newsletter subscription, and you're then copying and pasting or moving that information over into HubSpot. And then that's going to add up really quickly to a point in which you can't really manage it. So then maybe you're doing this on a weekly batch basis. You're exporting the information from your platform, you're importing it into HubSpot, then you're checking, you're filtering down in the spreadsheet by the people who subscribe to the newsletter, and you're importing them up into MailChimp as well. Or maybe you're having to have a completely separate sign-up system to MailChimp because you can't even do that. Right? There is lots of time, there's lots of opportunity for mistakes, there's lots of scope for a lag between you collecting this information and it not being present in the systems until a week later, which means you can't utilize it, you can't email these people. The issues around that rack up very quickly. So this is the solution to it. So here we're going to look at a new contact being created in Zapier. We're going to add every single one of those into HubSpot. We're then going to check whether they've signed up to the newsletter in a filter, and then we're going to add them into MailChimp. And in fact, I want to go through and show you this as an example to give you an idea of how Zapier works. I've jumped straight into sort of the Zap creating wizard here. There's a dashboard as well, but we're just going to sort of get stuck in with it. So we talked about triggers earlier on when this happens. So we want to use Arlo, and we're going to say when a new contact is created in Arlo, I actually need to just select my account. And Arlo is going to go, Zapier is going to go off to Arlo when I press test trigger, and it's going to go, hey, can you just pass me some sample information, or can you pass me a recent contact that's been created? And I can use that to build out a Zap. So here we've got Mel. We can have a look through. So there's a bit of address in there as well. What we're actually interested in is to make sure that she's signed up to the newsletter, which she has, which is awesome. So we can say, okay, we've got the new contact being created in Arlo. Wonderful. We can say continue. It's going to have a thing. It's going to say, what do you want to do with that next? Well, we said we want to make sure we pass all of these over into HubSpot. So we're going to go here and we're going to say, for every single new contact I create, in or every new contact I get in my business, I want to add them to my central CRM. This could be Infusionsoft, this could be Dynamics, Salesforce, whatever CRM you use, there's a good chance that they actually integrate with Zapier. As long as they do, you can use them. So you want to make every new customer in your business also a contact in your CRM. I'm just going to connect up to my test account for HubSpot. And then it's going to pop up with this, right? There's a lot of information here. These are all the fields which are defaulted in my HubSpot account. Yours might have more, it might have less. What I'm just going to look for is, here we go, there's a first name. And what we're really doing here is I want to show you how simple it is to map Arlo information or to your vendor's information to a new platform, right? Where a native integration requires a large amount of code for this to be capable. Here, I'm just finding the right fields, finding the piece of information I need. Let's have a look for email and saying, match this one to this one. And it's simple as that. And it's not really important to consider this as Mel and training 1, 2, 3. What's important to consider is the fact that this is an email address to an email address, a first name to a first name. So this could be John Doe, this could be whoever you want, it could be Liam Neeson. It will change dynamically with whoever the contact is coming through. So we'll just do first, last, and email in this instance. But you can see, like, for instance, if I just type in street address here, right? And I type in street here, and we see 1, 2, 3 Fake Town, and then there's probably some others, city in here. Let's just put city, I think it's just London. There you go, right? So the point is, you can see how simple it is for me just to map the different bits of information between different systems and different platforms just by searching, clicking, and done. So we'll click continue here, and it's just gonna save that information, and I'm gonna click test and review. And what I'm interested in seeing is whether it's gonna send that over. Wonderful. So if I go over to here actually, and I can jump down into my development account, it's just gonna have a think. Oh, that's lucky. I'm not sure I'd remember my password. Let's open this up. And then if we remember, it was Mel that we created. And if I just go into contacts here, so Mel didn't exist in this platform beforehand, and voila, here it is, right? Mel's just straight in there. So without touching the code, and touching any bit of code, I've just managed to transfer a brand new customer from your vendor, your TMS, straight into your CRM, so you can start utilizing their data within that CRM, recording information, recording your conversations, your interactions, putting them through new sales funnels if you need to, treat them as leads, whatever it is you need to do in there. But we're not done, right? We said the first thing we wanted to do was to add them into the CRM, but the next thing we wanted to do is to see whether they'd signed up to the newsletter, and if so, add them to MailChimp. So I've just opened up something called a filter here, and a filter is just a gate, like I mentioned beforehand. And what I can do is I can say only continue if, and I'm going to look up newsletter, marketing newsletter subscriber, and I'm going to say contains true. So if I click this continue button, this is going to proceed. So only continue with this workflow if the new contact has subscribed to the newsletter when they registered on a course. In this instance, Mel did. Fantastic. And that means I want to do the final thing, not mail. There we go. Chimp, there it is, it's hiding. MailChimp. Final thing I want to do is add that person as a subscriber to my MailChimp. Again, all I'm doing is saying what I want it to do in an action. I'm telling it which account. Often you will only have one, we have lots because we all work on this together. And then it's saying, what's the different bits of information you'd like to include and to specify. There's a couple of required here. We have to say which audience we're going to put this into. I just have training. And of course, we've got to specify an email address. But here you can see, I could actually, if I wanted to, here's the idea, like here's what I was talking about. Zapier being able to pull information from multiple different platforms and manipulate it. So if I had taken the email address from Arlo, inputted it into HubSpot, and let's say it tweaked the email address just for some reason, I could then use that changed email address just here within that. I'm not going to, I don't need to. I can use the same as the one that I got when they signed up within Arlo, and that's fine, so I'm going to input that there. But you can understand how you can use Zapier to change bits of data in different platforms. And in fact, Zapier itself can help change data using helpers that they've built to then utilize it in even new ways that you couldn't even consider possible when you had these manual processes. So we're saying add them to the train list. This is their email address. Again, there's some, dynamic fields that I can populate in here if I wanted to. For instance, I do it so I include their customer ID as well, so I can use that for reporting purposes. So I can send personalized emails to these people. I can say, right, I need the first and last name of them as well. Maybe I use MailChimp to send out actual physical mail as well, so I can include that info. All put that in there. Again, I'm going to click continue. I'm going to click test and review, and while that's having a think, I'm just going to go over here and open up my MailChimp account. Oh, I hope this remembers all my login details as well. Hey, it does. Of course it's going to want to ask for a verification. I can't actually do that at the moment if I send the email code. Okay, we're going to have to skip to that bit, unfortunately, because I can't verify right now. But what we would have just seen is this being created as a contact within the MailChimp as well, very similarly to how it was done within HubSpot. Right, so let's jump back in over here. Now we've got an example. So let's review that problem really quickly. You're spending a lot of manual time moving information from your TMS, your vendor, into your CRM. Then you're checking whether they sign up to that newsletter topic. If they have, then you're importing them into MailChimp. You could be doing that in a multitude of different ways, but it's taking too long. It's costing you too much money. It's too prone to errors. And Zapier is addressing all of those problems. Once it's created, you can forget about it. And that's the wonderful thing. So we've had a look at what a native integration can do, and they're incredibly powerful and simple to use. We've had a look at sort of the dynamic side of Zapier and how that integrates with your TMS and how we can pull all those different things together with the TMS acting as a central spot. And that's it from me.
Thank you, Nick. Ben and Nick have done an awesome job of explaining to you what a training management system is, the different components that make up a training management system, and how those components communicate or integrate with one another. It's now my privilege to introduce you to the Arlo training and event management system and to explain a little bit about how Arlo can help your training business. So what is Arlo? Well, Arlo is a software that helps you promote, sell, and deliver your training. Arlo helps training providers grow their businesses and not their workload. In other words, it's about working smarter, not harder. There are two aspects that we want to touch on, and one is on streamlining your business, and that's really trying to reduce the administrative burden that is often associated with a training organization. So what Arlo does in this space is it helps to automate manual processes and make everyday tasks easy. So we have lots of people that come to us and they're using spreadsheets, or maybe they're using a form on their website, and there's so many manual tasks that they have to do in order to run and manage their training. So what Arlo does to help you with that is it automates the course instructions and reminders. It makes transfers, cancellations, and refunds a breeze. No one likes transfers or cancellations or refunds, but it's just a fact of life. People change their minds. People want to cancel. People request refunds. And Arlo just helps you to manage all of those difficult processes that would be manual, and it just helps to automate some of those processes and give you the tools to do it or to facilitate that. It also offers you powerful venue and presenter scheduling tools. So booking presenters, choosing the right presenter for the right course, making sure that they're available, that you don't have them booked on something else, and the same for venues. Looking at your availability of venues, booking the right venue, making sure that it's got enough capacity for the course that you're going to run, and then also the seamless integrations with your website. So we have people that come to us and they say, well, look, every time I run a new course, I have to create a new course on my website. So I physically got to go and change the code on the website and add that course on the website. Well, Arlo makes that easy for you in the sense that you can integrate it into your website. So when you create a new course in Arlo, you don't have to change anything on your website. That automatically pulls through to your website. It's on the website and people can start registering straight away. And there's just so much more where Arlo helps you to streamline and makes things easier for you. The person on the right here is Paul, and he's the co-founder of the Parallel Project Training organization. And this is one of his testimonials. We've saved £50,000 per year in course administration costs, moved entirely away from paper bookings, manual joining instructions, and paper records. And so they are working smarter and not harder, and that's how they've been able to scale up their business. So by reducing your administrative burden, you're also reducing your administrative costs, which means that it's an improvement on your bottom line. The other aspect that we'd like to take a look at is growing your business. So Arlo helps you grow. It helps you. How does it help you grow? It helps you to run targeted marketing campaigns. It helps you to capture your sales leads from your website, offers and promotions. It has a very robust discounting functionality so that you can create promotional codes, you can create discounts, and you can manage those discounts. And then also capturing customer feedback through surveys and so much more. Holly is the co-founder of Safe Beginnings, and she gave us this testimonial. We had a 50% increase in our sales following the implementation of Arlo. We knew that making the transaction easy would result in more checkouts, and Arlo has done that for us. And it just translates this way. If you can make things easier for your prospects and customers, you will get more sales. And how is that so? Well, if people can easily find the course that they're looking for, there's more chance that they'll convert. If it's easier for them to pay for that course, there's more chance they'll convert because they can do it quickly, they can enter their credit card details in, and they've made the purchase. Now we'll look at some of the Arlo key features. We're not going to look at everything. We don't have time for that, but we'd like to give you an overview of Arlo and the main features that will help you make the choice to use Arlo. Looking at the website, we're going to start at the website. How does it integrate? What's the customer experience with the website? We'll look at some of the technologies we use to integrate into your website. Then we'll go on to the online registration component. And that component is when someone has found the course, they register for the course, they pay for the course, and we'll have a look at that process. Then we're going to jump into the platform itself, and that's where you create your courses, you manage your courses, and we'll just touch on certain aspects of the platform itself. And then we'll jump into the CRM. So Arlo has a built-in CRM, which captures all of that business data that you need about who's purchased which course, when, and how. Let's look at the feature website. Arlo offers different website options. You can use the Arlo website. It comes with your platform and it enables you to get up and running as quick as possible. Then we have different technologies which you can use to integrate into your own website. Let's say you have an existing website and you would just like to integrate the course pages or the courses that come from Arlo into your website. We have different technologies like WordPress plugin. We've also got web controls, which are JavaScript-based controls, and we've also got the Arlo API, which you can use. We're going to look at an example now of an integration into a customer's website. Auckland University use Arlo for their short course program. So these are courses that normally last 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days. They have this course page and these courses are pulled through from Arlo. So the beauty of this is that they never have to change their website to include new courses. They would just go into Arlo, they would create those courses, and those courses would be dynamically pulled through to their website. The user sees the same branding, there's the same behavior on the website. They're not aware that there's a system running behind this website which is actually managing the course registrations, the courses that are being displayed, etc. Looking at the bottom here, we see the categories, and these categories are also created in Arlo. So you can create your course categories, you can associate courses with those categories. Those categories are automatically populated on the website, and those courses then are also associated with that category on the website. So for the user experience or customer journey, the customer would come here, they'd look for, oh, I'm looking for the accounting and finance category. They can click on it. That would then filter the courses based on that category. And then they could go and have a look at the course of relevance. So this accounting fundamentals, they probably want to know a little bit more about what the course is about. they can look, this is a course template page, they can scroll through, they can see the description, the topics covered, who should attend, etc. And they also have the dates for the course. So the beautiful thing about Arlo is the course template page is like the foundation. You create your course template page, and then you can schedule instances on that template. So you don't have to enter the description multiple times, etc. That information remains the same. You're just scheduling new dates, venues, locations, presenters, and that all is found on that using that same template. On this template, we can also have presenter profiles. So in this instance, Bill Ross is the presenter or instructor for this course. If they were to click on Bill Ross, it would take them to the presenter or instructor profile, where they could read about their skills, experience, the details about that presenter or that instructor. The beautiful thing about that too is that information is kept in Arlo. So you can create those presenter profiles, those instructor profiles in Arlo, and that dynamically then pulls through to your website. So again, no changing anything on your website once that integration is done. Now we're looking at the course calendar, and the course calendar gives us another view of your courses. What I really like about this view is that it is a very succinct list. So you may have a number of courses that you're running on a different dates as well. Now this just makes very good use of your screen real estate. So you can have your list of courses here. The person can look for the date that's of interest to them. They can click on that date and they can register for that course. Just economizing real estate, screen real estate. Let's take a look at the Arlo website. So the Arlo website allows you to add your own colors. It allows you to add your logo, add your fonts, and it comes ready prepared with different views of your courses, whether that's an upcoming events list or whether it's a catalog page with your different categories and the courses against those categories, or the schedule page, similar to what we saw in the Auckland University website example. You have different options and different views. There is also a search bar so that your users can search for a certain term or a certain topic that they're interested in, and it'll filter those results so that they can find what they need. There's also an upcoming events widget, and the upcoming events widget is just pulling through the next upcoming events from Arlo, and you can define how many upcoming events would you like to show? Would you like to show 3? Would you like to show 6 or 10? And so your users, when they land on your homepage, they can immediately see, okay, these are the next courses that are upcoming, and they can click on it and register for that particular course. So just showcasing your upcoming courses. There's a link section widget as well, where you can have links to maybe partner sites or to other relevant information as well. And a featured event widget. This featured event widget is where you've maybe got a course that you'd like to showcase. It may be a new course that you're running. It may be a conference that you're running, but you'd like every visitor to your website to see this course. You would tag that as a featured event in the Arlo platform, and that would dynamically pull through to the website, and people would then be able to see it and register for it. And then also you have the ability to have, different headers and footers and images which really match your brand and stand out to the user. Looking at the registration process. So someone's gone through your website, they've found the course that they're interested in, and they'd like to register for it. You'll notice on this page that we have things like discounts. And as I expressed earlier, we have very robust discount functionality. So you can have discounts based on the number of registrants on an order. So if 3 or more people register, you apply a certain discount. If 10 or more people register, you apply a different discount. You could have early bird discounts. You could have discounts that are only valid for certain time periods between certain dates. You could have promo codes where you create promotional codes and you have a discount attached to that, and you can maybe specify how many uses you'd like to permit with that discount code, and that's all built into the system. Looking at things like limited places, so you may have a maximum number, and so the limited places will just alert the user to the fact that, well, you know, this course is almost full. There's just a few places remaining. And so that creates a sense of urgency so people register as soon as possible. Then we have the waiting list feature as well. So let's say your maximum has been reached. You've had a maximum place, 25 places, that's been reached. People can then add themselves to the waiting list. So if someone cancels or someone transfers, or maybe you manage to organize another classroom with, you know, more places, and you create more places or more availability, the first person on that waiting list will be notified that there is a place available. If they don't take up that invitation within a predefined time, it'll pass to the next person on the waiting list, and so forth until all places have been taken. When registering, you're able to create registration forms with custom fields so that you can collect all the information that you need from the person that's registering. And you can have things like purchase orders. So if a large organization requires purchase orders, they can enter the purchase order in here. That'll be on the invoice that's automatically sent to them once they make the purchase. Voucher codes for people that maybe have pre-purchased a certain amount of credit, they can enter their voucher code and it'll deduct this amount from their credit that's available to them. Things like promotional codes, if you created promotional codes with a certain percentage off, they can put in the promotional code, that'll deduct that from the total. And then things for your high ticket price items. So if you've got a course that really costs a lot, you may want to offer them your purchasers the opportunity to pay a deposit. So maybe they want to pay a certain percentage, maybe 10% in order to secure their place. They can pay that deposit and you can then charge them the rest later on. Looking at payment methods, we allow multiple different payment methods. We have integrations with different payment gateways, being PayPal, ANZ eGate, Authorized.net, Stripe, WinCave, which is the old Payment Express, and things like terms and conditions. You may want them to review and confirm the terms and conditions before they register. They can review and confirm and see a summary of what they're purchasing. And now we've finished with this, we're actually going to jump into the platform itself to take a look at how do you manage your courses and just some of the KPIs in the platform itself. The first thing we're going to have a look at is the dashboard, and the dashboard has all the relevant information that we need to manage our courses. For instance, this upcoming events tile, it shows us all the courses at a glance. We can see, which courses are running. We can see this course is full, 10 plus 2. 2 means that there are 2 people on the waiting list. We can see this course, the minimum is not yet met. We may have a minimum viable number before we want to run the course. We put that in as a minimum, and we can see at a glance the courses. We've got 11 courses where the minimum is not met. We can click on view all and we'll get a full list of all the courses with the specific metrics. We can see things like the registrations. So this registration tile gives us the number of registrations we've received year to date, as well as the trend line. So we can see, the busy months, the slow months, and that just helps to build up our historical data. So next year, we know when our slow months are, we can maybe run a promotion, run a discount, offer a discount, etc., just to pick up the business during those slow months. Tasks. Arlo allows you to create task sets, and that is, you may run a certain course and you may have a certain number of tasks that you always have to complete before the course runs. You can create that as a task set, and you can then either apply it to the template for the course, or you can apply it to the course instance, and then it'll generate those tasks. You can set the tasks based on the start date or the end date of the course, and it's just a checklist that you go through to make sure that you've done everything before the course runs. We've also got this orders tile, and the orders tile shows you the orders that have come through year to date, as well as the trend line, again giving you that business intelligence that you need to base your decisions on for the future. Leads. This is giving you an indication of the leads that are coming through from the system, whether people have inquired about running the course in-house, or whether they've just registered their interest on a course. Maybe they've clicked on inquire or contact us, that all comes through to Arlo as a lead, and then you can manage that lead and try and convert that lead into a sale. We're going to have a brief look at the customer relationship management system now. So Arlo has a built-in CRM, and that contains all the necessary information that you need about your registrants, the courses that they've registered on, the organizations they belong to, any leads that have come through the system. That can all be managed here. In our scenario, we're looking for one of our registrants, Felicity, one of our contacts. We type in what we know. So maybe we've forgotten her name, but we know that it started with FEL. We can put in FEL and MER, and there's an algorithm that will do a search and will find the relevant matches. We're going to go into Felicity's record, contact record, and we can see details such as the organization she belongs to. She's the key contact for this organization. We can see things like the phone number. These are all details that we've collected. We've either entered them in, or we've collected them at the time of registration and it's been saved against her contact record. We've got things like leads. So if she's inquired, maybe she's inquired about a certain course, or she's inquired about a different date for a course, or she's requested a different date. All those leads that have come through where she has been the originator of that lead, so she actually submitted that lead, that's kept against her contact record, so there's traceability. Things like certifications. So Arlo does have a certifications workflow as well, where you can define which courses need to be completed before they receive the certification, and you may set expiry dates and you want to set reminders for those certifications. That's all possible in Arlo. We can also see details such as what events is she currently registered for? Which events has she completed? Which e-learning has she completed? Any campaigns that she's been included in. So maybe we've run a number of campaigns and she's been included in those campaigns. Again, we've got that traceability. We can see exactly which campaign or campaigns she was included in. And then also vouchers. So if she's pre-purchased credit, we can see the balance of those vouchers against her contact record. And there's so much more. Things like notes, you can write notes against her contact record. Orders, we can see which orders are still outstanding, maybe which orders we've received payment for, which orders are yet to be paid for. We can see communication, so any of the automated communication that has gone out of the system, we can click on here and see that. We can save documents against her contact. We can email her. This will use your default mail client. We can put a tag against her contact record as well. So many options to make use of. And then there's just so much more. So we've covered the website. We've covered the online registration component, the course management, the CRM. What else? There's marketing. There's the live online, our integrations with Zoom, GoToWebinar, e-learning, our integrations with Moodle, certifications, which we briefly touched on, finance, how do you manage your orders, how do you create new orders, and then the customer portal as well, where your customers can go and self-service, download their certificates, and so forth. Nick has done such a great job of introducing us to Zapier and how Zapier is used to integrate with different systems and to transfer information from Arlo to different systems. So we won't cover that now. So what next? Well, please visit our website, arlo.co. You can start a free trial, book a full demo. You can also email us at sales@arlo.co if you have any questions. And please visit our pricing page. We're very transparent with our pricing. And it's been great having you. Thanks so much for attending this webinar. Please keep an eye on your inbox. We hope to send out a recording of this webinar. And yeah, we'll be in touch. See you next time. Thank you.